Hey there. We'll get to this Love in Lebanon episode shortly, but wanted to pass along two quick pieces of information. First, after taking some time off for the summer, we're releasing weekly podcast episodes every Tuesday morning. Second, if you listen to the Love in Lebanon pod on Stitcher, you'll need to find another platform because Stitcher is going away for good at the end of August. That's it. That's the information. Now on to the episode. Episode 131 of the Love in Lebanon podcast takes place on location and takes us to Americana The Lebanon Grill at 528 Lafayette Avenue. Craig Melton is our guest. He shares the events that led him to breathe renewed life into once was the Draught Board. We talk menu, we talk atmosphere, and we talk long-term vision. Episode 131 of the Love in Lebanon podcast starts now.
Welcome to the Love in Lebanon podcast, highlighting all the great things happening in Lebanon, Indiana. Have an idea for an episode? Send an email to loveinlebanon@lebanon.in.gov.
Hey everybody, welcome to the episode of the Love in Lebanon podcast. I'm Joe LePage, the Community Development Director. The podcast is on location today. We're on Lafayette Avenue. Specifically, we are at 528 Lafayette Avenue, talking about Americana The Lebanon Grill. We've got Craig Melton. He's the owner, operator extraordinaire here of Americana. Craig, thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for coming out, seeing it.
And looking outside, walking in, carrying all the gear to set this thing up. Coming soon. We're getting excited. All the great Buffalo patriotic imaging is up and ready. The restaurant will be opening sometime soon here in Lebanon. You got to be excited about that.
Very excited. A little nervous, but very excited to bring this great opportunity to Lebanon and bring a piece of real estate in Lebanon back to life.
Back to life indeed. And folks, you may be listening and seeing the name and it says Americana, and you kind of think back a little bit. Maybe wasn't there a restaurant that was Americana a little while ago? Yes. Different owner, different philosophy. It's a different, similar name.
Absolutely. Yeah. We have no connection to the previous Americana. This name, this title came from a vision of myself being in the Lebanon area, seeing this property in particular, and kind of doing a little research and understanding what it was and what it could be. And much like the land of opportunity, that's where the name stems from for Americana here in Lebanon.
And the Buffalo imaging, kind of the same wavelength there, and the patriotism, the nod to all that?
Absolutely, yeah. So another kind of side topic that goes along with that, a little story about the bison. When there's a rainstorm, the bison actually runs through the storm, and this is kind of after COVID, post-COVID, when all these ideas came together, and that's really kind of the vision I had with the bison and the American flag running through the bison, and that's kind of where it stemmed from, just the vision of that as well with the bison. Plus, I had some great help with the design aspects from a good friend. So
it's very cool. It's very kitschy, and it's going to look great on all kinds of gear. And it looks really, really cool. It's a tight conceptual design. It's fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Really geek out about that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I was going to do a shout out to Bralin Press. He does our shirts. He does our logos. He does our signage. BRALLAN Press. And I just hate to throw that out there, but I got to give him credit. His name's Alan. And he's very creative. I went to high school with him. We lost connection for several years, and then we just got back together about 15 years later, 20 years later, and we really worked well together. And that's the mind behind the bison,
Gotcha.
Actual design. So
Fantastic. And as I mentioned in the intro, everybody, 528 Lafayette Avenue is the address, and that's the former location. If you may be keeping score at home, the Draught Board used to be in this location, and where we're sitting right now, it looks, let's say, a lot different would be an understatement. It looks remarkably different from the way the Draught Board looks. Can you kind of talk about the sweat equity that was poured into here, quite literally, to transform this space into what we're going to talk about later as a family-friendly, great food, great service establishment here in town?
Absolutely. So when I first walked into the Draught Board, or the previous Draught Board, I was taken back into time, and it felt like I was taken back into 30 years ago. The pub style, the really comfortable, atmosphere. However, it was run down. The place had been closed for approximately 2 years when I walked in. So you can imagine some of the things that I kind of walked into in that. But I will say I did make a short video, and I'll probably post it on our social media page eventually. But as I opened the door, I said to myself, and on the video, I said, this is the American dream. This has been a dream of mine for a long time. As I walked in, opened up the door, the place was in bad shape. But again, it had been neglected for 2 years as it was closed, and it really has transformed. We've spent a lot of work in this building. Everything from replacing the subfloor, with a restaurant bar. You have leaks and water damage and things that are getting spilled on the floor for years and years and years. So we replaced all that plywood. We used a little bit higher grade treated material so that if we do have water damage in the future, it'll resist it and stand up to it. But as I walked in that first day, that's when my wheels in my mind started turning. What can I turn this into that will redevelop, without thinking of another word, redevelop this piece of property? And the property did come with the liquor license, and it came with lots of history as well. And in thinking that through, the bar top, the bar itself, I've heard some stories about the people that assembled that bar top and actually, spent time. It's a beer bottle cap bar top with an epoxy resin, installed over the top of it. And, I saw that, and I kind of fell in love with that piece. And I thought to myself that really should be a staple or something that continues to be carried into the next business that's here. And we did that. We did that as well. And I know that's kind of maybe getting a little ahead of ourselves, but that particular piece is in the restaurant still. Now we're not using it as a bar itself, but it is part of the bar. And so when you all come in, please, take a look at it and just remember that was part of the history of this actual location as well. So yeah, there's a ton of things I could talk about from the aspect that we had to when we remodeled and the sweat equity. Lots of sweat, maybe some tears, but ultimately,
hopefully no regret. And
no regret. But this place has been several things. I've done a little research, Raiders Market, Triangle Inn, the Draught Board. Now it's Americana. And I think all of those things that I just named are Americana. Therefore, can I bring some of that to the new business that we will be opening soon? And the answer is yes. But one other thing I wanted to add to that is, the Draught Board was a bar, 21 and older. Being somebody myself who has 4 children, I wanted to incorporate my children into this. I wanted them to be able to wait tables here eventually if they maybe dishwash or cook, learn some of this necessary work ethic that the restaurant creates for some people, or it did for me. And that's a little bit, without going into all my background, I came from the restaurant business. So that's how I know a little bit about this. By all means, not an expert, but I definitely am eager to get this place rolling and, incorporate children and families into a corner of Lebanon that, has been, for lack of a better term, neglected for a few years.
Yeah, and it's starved, pun intended, for a sit-down restaurant. Right across the street, we can look out and see Pizza King. Great pizza, great establishment there. But a sit-down restaurant that is open to the entire family is in need on this side of town. And I know, folks, you may be thinking, oh, geez, another bar. You need to come in, and you will soon, since it is opening soon. It's got a great family feel to it, and you made it that way, like you mentioned, having kiddos yourself, of having the bar take more or less a back seat. It's a small portion. You can kind of see it in the back. It's not the focus, and it's all about family and food and the environment. Great service is what you were telling me that you're really hanging your hat on here.
Yeah, we took away some of the entertainment aspects, and that was something I had to really gauge in my heart and look around. There were pool tables here before. There were some arcades and different things, and my goal with Americana The Lebanon Grill is to bring great food and great service back. In my opinion, we've lost some of that through our COVID experience. I think that can come back, and I think that's the goal, is to bring that back to the Lebanon residents, and give us that opportunity to be treated well, to be able to get what we want, to be able to get great food, good quality, tasty, flavorful. But also, my goal is to ultimately bring features, like a weekly feature to this menu. I know we're not talking about the menu yet, but bringing something that so people can look forward to, maybe on a Thursday or Friday or Saturday or Sunday, something a little different. Hey, let's go out. Remember, they're featuring this on Thursdays, or they're featuring this on Friday. And that's really my goal, is to kind of create that desire to go get some great food and be served well.
And folks, we're talking with Craig Melton. He is the owner and operator of Americana The Lebanon Grill, located at 528 Lafayette Avenue. Coming soon. We'll be opening up soon, and highly recommend checking out the environment here. You mentioned COVID earlier on, just a few minutes ago, and if we can kind of touch on that, and what led you to this space has to deal with the global pandemic. It changed the way that so much of our lives, how that works, how our kids go to school, how we have remote meetings, all those things, and had a lot of things that stretched us and moved us. But it really, I guess if you're looking for blessings with a global pandemic, it was where we're sitting right now. Can you talk about how COVID kind of got you into the headspace of looking for, finding, and then establishing Americana The Lebanon Grill?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I believe that it really stems from a little bit further back than COVID for me.
Okay.
A little bit more of a history about me is I came from the restaurant business. I started at a Subway sandwich. I was a sandwich artist when I was 15
years old. Didn't see it on the
resume. All the way up to about 17 years ago, I worked for a corporation that you all might have heard of, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Yeah. And really, Ruth's Chris was kind of the one that gave me the set of standards to be able to give great service and understand what great food is. And I did that for about eight years. And I met just a wealth of great people in that business as well, in that particular restaurant. To this day, I'm still friends with several of those people. Several of those people own restaurants. Several of those people still wait tables. I know servers that have been waiting tables for 35 years. And that just blows my mind to be in the same business. Now, not all of them just wait tables. They do it additionally. But so my point in telling you that is that's kind of where I came from. But I will tell you, I became a plumber during the last 4 years of working at Ruth's Chris. And that's when really the spark hit me of some of my hidden talents, which is my talents with my hands, my vision, my ability to see through walls, not literally, but... I was
going to say, that's like X-ray vision.
But figuratively. Yeah. And through that experience, I had a great plumber boss. His name was Corey Laux, great guy, helped me for 4 years, trained me up on how to do this plumbing. Shortly after that, the housing market crashed. Then I started my own business called Project Melton. Project Melton was a handyman business that became a contracting business, a general contracting remodeler, everything from the roof down to concrete. And all that played a role into what I'm about to tell you is during COVID was my first experience of struggle. And I had several projects lined up during COVID, and all three of them in particular kind of pulled out on me. And they wanted to hold on to their money. COVID was scaring them. They didn't want us in their homes. And from that experience, I got to see a little bit of my vulnerability. So fortunately though, I have had some opportunity to invest, and I was able to sell some investments to kind of get through COVID, or get through that lean time with my business. And that's when I actually introduced myself to Lebanon and started, actually flipped a few houses up here. And through that process is when I came across the old Draught Board location, passed it several times. I had a property on Thomas Drive, not too far from here, and I would drive by the Draught Board every day while I was doing that project. And again, an opportunity arose, and I was able to purchase the Draught Board. And that's when things really started rolling. The snowball started adding and building up to what we have today, which is Americana, which is about to open. Through all of that experience, I got to have my vision came to light, if you will. And, it was just an opportunity that was laid in my hands, started out as a negative, and then it's kind of evolved into this positive light. And I'm just really blessed to have these opportunities. And that's part of the reason it's called Americana The Lebanon Grill. It's America, the land of opportunity, and it is what you make of it. And I think this is what we're going to make of it. We're going to make it great food and great service and bring it back here in Lebanon. I don't know if I hit all of your questions, but that's kind of the story behind where I've come and why I created Americana here at the old Draught Board location.
And everyone, we're talking with Craig Melton. He's the owner and operator of Americana The Lebanon Grill, opening soon here in Lebanon, Indiana. If we can kind of talk about the food a little bit, Craig, scrolling through the menu as we speak, looking at, it's funny, you have the bison logo. There's an Americana bison burger on the menu. They're going down. There are just a lot of different features that you guys will have here. And you were talking earlier, really wanting to have the quality of food be second to none. Can you kind of talk about the ingredients and kind of what went into putting together this menu? It's got something for everybody. And we talked about earlier, this is an all ages establishment. So this got something for the kids, but it has something a little bit more robust for those of us who want to come out and have some really, really quality food as well.
Absolutely. So I'd be remiss not to comment on where I came up with some of these recipes and who influenced those. And, through my years of working in the restaurant business, for most of the first half of my working life, there were several chefs, Dan Dunville, Rick Pullman, Chef Derek Jones, and Sun Tran. All these chefs, two of them who have since passed, influenced me to come up with a lot of these ingredients to put in these dishes. These dishes range from things that people are going to be more comforted with, like a comfort food. That we have a jalapeno chicken strips, and the recipe's awesome. They're delicious. It's white chicken breast meat. We'll have a house-made ranch that you can dip those in, or a buffalo sauce. That's kind of that savory and comfort food. But like as you mentioned, the bison burger, something a little more lean for our guests if they want to go into the lean. But we'll also have a basil aioli that you'll be able to drizzle over the top of that burger as well. But we're also going to cater to a little bit more better value. And what I mean by that is we'll have smash burgers. So you'll be able to have a smash burger, crispy edges, add it, with lettuce, tomato, pickle, onion, all those normal toppings. And then you can add different sauces to that as well. As we go down the menu, we also have other things. I know Rick Pullman was one of my influencers on this, and at his restaurant, Eddie's Barn Eatery, which still exists today over in Fishers, Lawrence area, is a daily quesadilla feature. That is something that's pretty easy to make here in our kitchen, because our kitchen is kind of small. We had to come up with things that are going to be easily prepared, but yet we want to give great flavor. But some things like a chicken salad quesadilla or a chicken teriyaki quesadilla or even a prime rib quesadilla, those are all quesadillas that you will eventually see rotate through our features on our menu. But again, as you discussed, children, we do have a children's menu. It's not very extensive, but it will have your mac and cheese and
it hits all the bases.
Yeah.
The chicken strips, the mac and cheese
quesadilla.
Yeah.
So back to those chicken strips. So we'll have two different kinds of batter. We'll have the jalapeno batter, which has a little diced jalapenos as well as pimento in it, and a little ground cumin for the spice to add a little extra dimensional flavor. But then we'll also have a honey batter, and that honey batter will be the one that's kind of more for everybody that doesn't mind a little spice, that's not interested in a little spice. But we'll have wraps as well. So we'll take our product and turn it into wraps. We're in a location where we have some logistic companies close by, and we wanted to cater to them as well for ease of, taking something with you. I'm not encouraging eating on the road, but I am suggesting that, eventually that's where we'll be. And then we also have what we'll do is daily features. We're not going to probably have it right in the beginning, but as we evolve a little bit, we'll bring in more food product and kind of have features on a Thursday, features on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And those will be the 4 days we're open. We'll be open from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., probably 9 on Sundays. But overall, we want to offer a little bit something different each of those days, so that when you guys wake up and you're like, it's Thursday, I think do you guys want to go to get the special, the feature, the Thursday feature at Americana, the Lebanon Grill? And that's my goal. We're going to get there. We're going to take it in a little bit of baby steps to get the doors open, get the staff where we need it to be. And, the menu will evolve a little bit. However, I also need your feedback. I need everyone's feedback on these products. And that's what's really going to gauge where we end up with the final menu or the continual menu is, what do you like? What do you want? Tell us. It's not going to hurt our feelings. We want to know, and we will evolve with time.
And I don't think you'll have any problem getting thoughts and opinions from the people of Lebanon. I think there are 14 different Lebanon chatter pages. Yeah, that they don't mind sounding off and telling you what they think. If you can kind of talk about, as we kind of wrap up, you mentioned Thursday through Sunday and 11 to more or less 10. You mentioned maybe 9 on Sundays. What's the experience that you want people to walk in, whether they're grabbing something on a lunch break or the Big Four Trail is not far away. So it's one of those things that if you're coming or going along the Big Four, being able to come in and grab a bite to eat. What are your kind of your overall goal for those that come in here to visit Americana The Lebanon Grill and being able to experience when they walk in the door?
First of all, that great service, as soon as you walk in the door, we will greet you. You will be greeted, whether it's 6 feet or 10 feet. We're going to say hello to you, and we're going to acknowledge you as you walk in the door. We want you to know that you're part of the family. We want you to know that you're welcome here. We want you to know that you're welcome every day that you walk in the door. That's the first thing. You talked about the Big Four Rail Trail. My goodness, what an amazing accomplishment for the county, Boone County. I'm a huge supporter of the Big Four Rail Trail, and the Big Four Rail Trail is going to be the bloodline for health and wellness to our county. And, for those that don't know the Big Four Rail Trail, all about it, how it connects Lebanon, Thorntown, Whitestown, and Zionsville, that is really, really important. And when I found out that this location was close to the Big Four Rail Trail, I knew right then that this is where I want to be, and this is a great opportunity. And so, circling back to that, can't wait to see that functionality be fully used by all 4 of those municipalities. Mm-hmm. And I think later this month or even in the next month, the connection between Whitestown and Whitestown and Zionsville will be completed. We're waiting on one little piece there, and we're almost done with that. And I think that's really exciting to me because we'll be able to come from Zionsville, where I live, all the way up to Lebanon via the Big Four Rail Trail eventually. So I'm a huge supporter for that. But definitely when it comes back to what I want the guests to experience is that, you're welcome here. You're welcome here. I want kids to be able to come here. We want to respect you just like we want respect back. And, as we move into that direction, we want to serve you with that great food, great service, and we want you to come back. If you want to come back 4 nights a week, we want you back. So that's the key.
And let's plug the pages a little bit as we kind of wrap things up here, Craig. You guys have had some great help from Amelia Lower, and she is over at Butler and taking some time and really helping out on the social media presence. You go on Facebook, everybody, Americana The Lebanon Grill. Boy, you can see the bison right there and all of its red, white, and blue glory. Same thing on Insta. If you go over to Instagram, a great Instagram page, I highly recommend following it. Americana The Lebanon Grill right there. The city of Lebanon has liked and followed those pages, and we highly recommend you do the same. Right now, the hiring process is underway, always looking for quality people. I'm guessing that once you're fully staffed, you'll still be listening to people who want to be able to come in and possibly be added to your staff. And you were talking before we hit record, and it was a great philosophy, and I'd like you to share it again if you don't mind, how you're hoping that one day one of the folks that are in here makes the investment to possibly want to not only go from dishwasher to a server, but maybe to a GM to an owner and run this thing before it's all said and done. It's that kind of atmosphere you're hoping to create.
Absolutely, Joe. So on the employment side, we have some listings on ZipRecruiter if anybody'd like to go out there on those. And, we're going to be hiring this week, but we're also going to be hiring down the road as well. And we know in the restaurant business, sometimes there's turnover, sometimes there's stress, but the ultimate goal is to try and give opportunity to our employees. And that opportunity doesn't just stem at, hey, let's come in here and make great money, make a good living off of serving, but it's actually the opportunity down the road. I look at everything as an opportunity. I look at, as you said, the dishwasher. In my opinion, the dishwasher is really the most important person in this building. That person is going to be the assistant to the front of the house and the back of the house. And that's how I view that perspective of it. But yes, my goal with Americana is not to own it forever. I do have a 10-year plan. I think it'd be unwise to not think that we would go into an investment opportunity and own it for 10 years. But the real goal really is to pass this vision, this desire, this opportunity on to the next person that wants to use their vision and maybe mold that vision into the future Americana. Will it be the same name? I don't know, but ultimately giving these employees that opportunity to have that vision is 100% where I stem this whole idea from, which is, creating this opportunity for anybody of any character to be able to own their own establishment, because that's the American dream. That's Americana. And, that's really my vision. And I appreciate you bringing that up, because it is, opportunity is what you make of it. And I think that's where this comes from. We made this, we think that this is going to be great for the city of Lebanon. And, we wouldn't mind passing the torch down the road, but ultimately want to get it fired up and get it going. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. And we can't wait for the journey to begin. Thank you for seeing that opportunity, as you talked about, in Lebanon and being able to make that investment here. It's an amazing transformation, everyone. If you've been inside the Draught Board and come inside Americana The Lebanon Grill, you're going to be blown away, and highly recommend that. And being cognizant of getting on social media, Americana The Lebanon Grill on Instagram and Facebook. Follow both pages, like them, get on there and see all the great things that are happening. Craig, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Joe, thank you very much. And I appreciate what you're doing for the city of Lebanon, the businesses here in Lebanon, and stemming that growth in a positive light for all of our constituents here in Lebanon, all the people here in Lebanon. So thank you.
My pleasure. Amelia, thanks for keeping us in check. Didn't mic you, but thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks everyone for listening to this episode of the Love in Lebanon podcast. We've got more episodes coming your way soon, everybody. Take care.